Hi, my name is Hugh Rigeri, President of Rigeri Financial Insurance Services. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video that we have put together to give you a brief introduction to our services as well as introduce my partner and our staff. I have been in this industry for more than 30 years and have been in the Inland Empire most of my life. After watching this video, I invite you to call our office to set up a time for your complimentary consultation for a second opinion on your retirement and investment.
Hello, I'm Cesaria Hernandez, host of the Valley Connection television show. Financial advisor Hugh Rigeri joined us for several segments. He shares with us his thoughts on how to better prepare yourself for retirement. Throughout this video, we will share with you those segments along with words from some of his clients and staff. Our first segment is on Planning 101. Let's take a look.
Cesaria Hernandez had a chance to interview Hugh Rigeri for tips on financial planning for retirement.
Welcome. Joining me is Hugh Rigeri, financial expert here in the Inland Empire, and Hugh specializes in retirement and estate planning. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you.
Now, I know a lot of us wait till the last minute to get on the retirement bandwagon. What can we do when maybe we haven't started planning for retirement as early as we should?
That's a good question, and you should start as soon as possible. There are several ways to start your retirement. One, you could open up an individual IRA. Two, you could put money after taxes away. But the key is to start saving today. If we started planning our retirement when we first started working, none of us would ever have to worry about our retirement. But most of us don't.
A lot of people are getting up there and they're retiring. What are you finding are their major concerns?
There are a lot of major concerns, and the biggest question I'm always asked is, will I have enough money to last the rest of my life? That's a very key question. We work 25 to 30 years to prepare for retirement, but once we get to retirement, we don't know if we have enough. So retirement is just like working. We have to plan for the rest of our lives to make sure we have enough money.
The average retirement now lasts, what, about 30 years?
Between 25 and 30 years, correct.
25 and 30 years. So we need to plan on at least for that amount of time.
Correct.
It's income tax time, and a lot of folks are going to be expecting a return. What should we do with that?
You should take your return and start either an IRA or a savings plan. It's very important to save as much money as you can. Most people want to wait until they have a large sum of money to put away, but it never works. Money is made over a long period of time, and $50 to $100 a month would make a huge difference in your retirement.
So Hugh, where should we invest our money today?
That's a good question, but it can't be answered in a simple sentence. There are a lot of variables when we look at where we want to put our money. First of all is your risk tolerance. Can you handle a loss in the market? Number two, do I need money that is safe and secure? Number three, what about inflation? We all know that inflation is low right now, but we all know that it's going to go up. And number four, what we have to figure is, do we have enough money based upon that criteria to last the rest of our life? It's important, very important, to talk to a professional. We in this generation, baby boomers, have worked hard, saved our money, but none of us are real expert when it comes to retirement planning. We need to get a professional that can help us walk through the maze so that we know and have the comfort that we have enough money to last the rest of our lives.
Well, I know a lot of people in my age group and lower, there's all of this internet investing. Any thoughts on that?
The problem with internet investing is most people that buy don't understand what they're buying. And that's why, again, I say, getting a professional that you can look at eye to eye and set and understand what you're investing in, to me, is the most important thing you can do.
Well, I know that there's a lot of ground that we have yet to cover, and we're going to have you back again. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And we're going to be right back right after this.
Hi, My name is Debbie Sadler, and I'm a partner in the firm and have worked closely with Hugh Gary for over 18 years. You are receiving this video to give you a brief introduction of how we can possibly be a part of your retirement planning. At our office, you are not just a client, you become part of our family. You're about to view a few of our many clients giving their views on Gary Financial and how we have been a part of their lives during their pre-retirement years as well as their retirement. I look forward to meeting with you.
We are very happy that we met Gary and Gary Financial's Hugh, Debbie, Brenda, all of them. They made it possible for us to not worry about our funds. A lot of people, even us, we had our money in the market before, and it was just tied to the fluctuations of the market, going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think knowing Hugh and about the investments with Gary Financial allowed us to retire when we wanted to and not to be worried about fluctuations. And I think it saved us a lot of grief and a lot of irritation to our stomach. We might have been ill had we waited in the market.
Yeah, we had lots of friends who had funds and 401ks, and they, when the crash hit in 2008, one of them I think lost maybe $750,000. They had a huge nest egg and they had huge losses, and they were retired at that point. So that made us think quite seriously about what our plan was and what we needed to do to be ready for retirement. And we were fortunate. We had some equity and we had some savings and all that, so it went really well. We met Ruggieri and his crew and had some friends that introduced us, and it worked out wonderful. So we couldn't be happier.
I was looking for a safe investment because I was getting older and I wanted to put my money in a safe place. I was researching stuff on the internet, and I ran across them and gave them a call, and ever since then I've been with them for 6 years. It's been the best investment that I've made. And Hugh and Debbie take their time with you. They don't rush, and like Bill was talking about tonight, they give you the service that you'd expect. And the investments that I have made with them have paid off. They've been good. I plan on staying with them for the rest of my life.
It's always great to hear from those who actually use Gary Financial and Insurance Services. Now let's go on to our second segment that we did with Hugh, as he speaks about the baby boomer generation. Welcome back. We are fortunate to be joined by Hugh Gary of Gary Financial. And Hugh, today we are talking about baby boomers. First off, Hugh, can you define the term baby boomer generation for us?
Yes, that's a big subject. Baby boomers, or people born after World War II from 1946 through 1964, are considered baby boomers, the largest population in our country.
Oh my goodness. So approximately how many baby boomers do we have right now?
I don't know exactly, several million, but there are over 10,000 baby boomers going into retirement every day and will last for the next 10 years.
Wow, that's a lot of people facing retirement. What are some of their concerns?
Concerns are, number one, because this generation of people are living longer than any other generation. Will I have enough money to last the rest of my life?
What are the major differences that you see between the baby boomer generation and generations past?
Generations past, during the war and previous to that, were called the GI generation. That generation of people saw every major transition in America. They went through a war, they went through rationing, part of them went through the Depression. Those people knew exactly what a dollar was and saved as much as they could. The problem was most of them during their lifetime ran out of money. Their children, who are now the baby boomers, have enjoyed luxury that no other generation have seen. Good jobs, making more money, more opportunity.
What are some of the financial options for baby boomers that are getting to retirement age?
That's a good question. Most companies that people work for have an option to participate in a 401k or a 457 and different other defined benefits that are offered to all employees.
Now, these are lifelong decisions. What would be your best advice for people? I know that about age 55, you come to a place where you have to start taking a good hard look at your retirement. What would be your first line of advice to them?
Procrastination is the biggest fault of baby boomers. We always want to put things off till tomorrow. And most of the time when we put things off, things don't get done, and then we make rash decisions that may affect our lives. By 55, they should have somewhat of a plan in place. It's very important. You can't wait till the last minute to retire.
Now, for folks that have taken a look at their retirement, should they get a second opinion?
A second opinion for retirement is the most important thing they can do. Most companies offer a plan. It may not necessarily be the right plan for the person, but to me, you need to get a second and maybe even a third option for your retirement, because the decisions you make will last the rest of your life.
Give me the good news about the baby boomer generation, speaking financially and towards retirement.
The baby boomer generation have in assets over $12 trillion. Properly positioned, properly planned, the baby boomers should have an absolute great, wonderful retirement.
Oh, well, that's good news, especially for a lot of us. It's something to look forward to. And we thank you, Hugh, for sharing all of those insights with us. And we'll be right back right after this.
Hi, my name is Brenda Avalos. I am the Office Manager and Client Relations Director at Regari Financial. I have been with Hugh and Debbie for over 8 years and have worked with hundreds of clients over the years and look forward to having the pleasure of meeting you soon. I can assure you that after watching our video and taking the next step, which is calling our office for your complimentary retirement review consultation, will be the best decision you will make this year.
The stock market wasn't really something that was favorable to us, and we were looking for some other choices. And everything he was bringing out, you know, it made total sense.
It really helped me a lot, because I was kind of stuck with knowing what to do, because I was going to be retiring in a couple of years, and he helped me get set on a good path, and I feel very fortunate and comfortable with my finances now.
Right. We've had some challenges, and he's always come through.
He
know,
does.
I mean, he just is. He proves everything. He is the most honest guy I've ever seen in this type of a business. You know, you're always skeptical salespeople, but
any problems that you have, he will really help you. He'll back you up and do everything he can. And his office is very friendly. Brenda's great, and Debbie, oh my gosh, she's as good as he is, really. And then they have the lawyer that works with them, and also a tax consultant, and it's just they all coordinate together, and we've just been really, really pleased with their work.
Every year we have evaluations, and every time I come out of there, I'm always thinking, God, I can't believe I did this. It's getting better as it goes.
Most of what you hear from the many clients of Regari Financial and Insurance Services is their financial peace of mind. In this next segment, Hugh discusses sound financial planning. Planning. It's an important part of our lives. We have everything from wedding planners to menu planners to daily planners. But when it comes to one of the most important planning decisions of our life, retirement, we often overlook it. Well, joining me today is Hugh Regari, financial expert, to talk just a little bit about why it's so important to have a team of professional planners on your side. Welcome, Hugh.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, Hugh, why do we need a team of professionals helping us plan our retirement?
Because retirement is a very complicated process. You need as many experts as you can to help you guide through the next 25 years of your life. During our working years, retirement was not even a thought. Why? Because we didn't need the money. We came home, we paid our bills, we put our kids through school, we bought cars, we traveled, we did all of the things we wanted to do because we knew we had a paycheck. All of a sudden, at one point in time, we decided retirement is important. Now we're looking at a whole new lifestyle. So we have to have professionals to help us guide us through that maze of retirement, including attorneys, tax people, Medicare, and long-term care specialists that can give you the right advice and guide you through the next 25 years.
Hugh, there are so many variables when planning for retirement, things that we don't even expect in life. Tax changes, changes in the law, inflation. How do we plan for all that?
Team approach is the best way to plan for that. With licensed professionals, these professionals each year go to school and are aware of the changes both in taxes, both in financial, and both in legal, so that we are aware ahead of time so that changes that we make will not affect our lifestyle.
Now, being in the financial industry for so very long, you've seen the ebbs and flows of trends in the markets. What is the biggest downfall that people make when they're planning their retirement?
The biggest downfall I have found is choosing financially the wrong strategies. The biggest fear today is, will I have enough money to last the rest of my life? And that's extremely important. And am I choosing the strategy to make sure that I will not outlive my money?
So Hugh, you recommend getting a second opinion. Why is that?
Most of us, through our working years, had various different, what we call defined retirement plans. So for the last 15, 20, 25 years, we have had the same planner all of that time. During that period of time, we call it the accumulation period. We were not concerned with whether or how our money was growing, either up or down. Once you near retirement, that same type of accumulation now needs to be put in distribution. That is why it's so important to have a second opinion, to make sure what you've accumulated can now be distributed for the rest of your life and never run out of money.
So define a little bit more for our viewers what distribution is.
Distribution is taking your defined plan and using it as an income. At some point in time, that's how we're going to retire, is using that, whether it be a pension, whether it be a 401k, 457, or any other defined plan. Along with our Social Security, that's going to define what our retirement is going to be for the rest of our life. So it's very important to get a second opinion to make sure that we're on the right track, not to outlive our money.
So plan for the worst and hope for the best, right?
That's exactly right.
Well, sage advice from our financial expert. Thank you so much, Hugh, for joining us and for giving us those tips on how to live our golden years a little bit more golden.
Thank you.
We're going to be right back with more right after this.
Hi, my name is Julie Chamberlain. I am the first voice and face at Regari Financial. I am looking forward to hearing from you soon to take advantage of the complimentary consultation that we offer. We look forward to you becoming a part of our Regari Financial family.
How we heard about Regari was we were living in the East Coast at the time, and our friend Bob Milat, who's a retired judge, had been in the financial advising business after he left working for the federal government. And he told us about Hugh, and he says, you know, I've been working in this business now for quite a while, and there's only two people that I would recommend to you, and one of them was Hugh, and he happened to be out here in California, in Hemet. My mother lives in Banning, and so we thought, well, proximity-wise. But he had also said, you know, of the two that I would recommend, I would put Hugh on top. And for us, that was a godsend. So we immediately contacted Hugh. He flew out to the East Coast and met with us, he and Debbie, and just laid it all out for us, which annuities would be the best ones for us, and especially, again, explain the fact that these annuities do not dip with the market when the market dips. And for us, that was the strongest seller. So we bought 2 annuities at that time with the money that we had in our retirement accounts. And later on, through the years, we've added a few more. After we retired, we took our money from our individual jobs and put them into annuities as well. And when we were ready to retire, it just made a big difference for us.
As far as, questions, I had questions. He probably answered the same question several times because I would ask it again, or I'm not sure. But yeah, everything has been terrific, and if you needed anything, or they just provided all the information I could have used, and it's been great.
Yeah. Personable, very nice. They answered all our questions, told me things that I had not a clue on what was really going on with his stuff in retirement, but now I understand it where I didn't before, and I feel very confident that this was the right move. We're steady, we're stable, and that's going to last us hopefully for the rest of our lives. Together, right?
Together.
Okay, together.
You have heard from some of their clients before they went with Regari Financial. One of their main concerns was, will they have enough money to last the rest of their lives? In our next segment, Hugh brings up the question, are you ready for the next 25 years? Oftentimes in our busy lives, we scarcely have time to plan out the next 25 days, much less the next 25 years. But here with me is Hugh Regari, our local financial expert, to tell us why it is so important to plan out that time. Welcome, Hugh.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
So let's talk about the plan for the next 25 years. Why is that important?
It's extremely important because we spend the first 25 to 30, maybe 40 years working, putting our kids through school, paying our bills, and hopefully saving some money over that period of time. Then all of a sudden we look up and say, you know what, maybe it's time for me to slow down and kick back and enjoy the rest of my life. And most people don't realize that's at least another 25-year process.
Well, let's talk about that next 25-year process. What are some of the stages of retirement that people must go through?
Well, we like to look at 3 stages. The first stage is accumulation, meaning throughout your lifetime, whether you have a qualified plan or whatever it is to save money over a period of time. The second stage is preservation, meaning that all the money you've saved, you want to make sure it's in a position that will last you the rest of your life. The third stage is what we call the payout or distribution stage, which meaning taking that money you've saved for 25, 30, 40 years and now spreading it out over the next 25 years and sometimes longer to make sure you'll have enough money to last the rest of your life.
Now, you mentioned preservation. How can we get a solid income coming in while we're retired and still preserve our assets?
Well, that's a very key question. That's why it's important to talk to a professional about how to do both of those things. One's preserve, and 2, to make sure you have money for the rest of your life. I'm a believer that you must always get a second, sometimes a third opinion.
Well, I know here in your book, How to Avoid a Rearview Mirror Retirement, you go over a lot of these strategies, and you also explain why we can't retire, maybe like our folks did.
That's very true. In the 80s and 90s, we had an economy that was continually growing. Our gross product, everything about us was growing. Companies were hiring, companies were building, and it was one of the largest development of both internet and production of materials in the history of our country. People lived in large cities, would sell their home, sometimes buying it in the low 50s and 60s and selling it for anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000. They would move out to this area or other areas, spend $75,000 to $150,000 on a smaller house, pay for it, use the rest of their money for retirement. But the economy and everything has changed. We can't count on our home being an asset anymore.
Well, let's talk about Social Security. A lot of people in my generation are a little bit iffy on that, but it's been around for so long. Do you think it's still going to be around for a little bit longer?
Absolutely. That was one of the greatest things President Roosevelt did, is to help people in this country have some type of retirement. It's going to be there. I believe in it, and I believe that our government will make sure it's still there. Over the years, it will change, but we will always have a Social Security plan.
Well, Hugh, there is so much to cover about planning the next 25 years, but you cover an awful lot of it here in your book, and I understand that you give these free to people. Is that correct?
Correct.
And how do we get a hold of one of these?
Just go to our website, and we'll be glad to send one out for you, no cost or obligation.
Excellent. Be sure to pick one up so where you can get planning for the next 25 years.
I had a retirement plan for my previous employment that I wanted to move out somewhere, and I didn't know what to do with it or where to put it in. And my good friend, he actually told me about it, and I was able to roll it over. I don't know a whole lot about finances, so I always need assessment, and they helped me out. I was wondering about the economy, and whether we're gonna be steady or not. But I feel reassurance when I talk to them. They feel pretty confident, so it makes me confident as well. It is actually the first time outside of employment that I have some type of investment with someone outside. I feel confident on the services that they provide, and like I said, I have no regrets. My experience has been good.
Hugh and Debbie will go the long route to get you all the information that you asked for, to make sure that everything is going to be there when you retire. And like I said, they will go out of their way. They will teach you the ins and outs of all the annuities and what would be best for you. And not only the annuities, but their financial system that they have the network to provide you insurance, living trust, various other documents that you can get through them, and which we have done. And we have done a living trust, and we went through them to set up our Medicare for when we retired, and our insurance, the supplementals for the Medicare. And it was all smooth operation from all the people that work with them.
Something we put off way too often is living well and leaving a legacy. Hugh explains in the following segment why it is so important to get your affairs in order before retirement. Living well and leaving a legacy. Wouldn't we all love to do that? But not many of us have the financial insight to know how to go about that very delicate planning. Well, I'm here today with Hugh Rigeri, our local financial expert, to get some tips on how to do exactly that. Welcome, Hugh.
Thank you.
So tell me, why is it so important to get your affairs all in order prior to retirement?
Well, it's very important because in order to have a happy retirement, you must get your affairs in order. Over the past 30 years, I've talked to literally thousands of people at various stages of retirement. And probably 75% of them were not actually prepared for retirement or did not realize the obstacles that they had to get to before they could retire. So proper planning, working with the right person to help you during that period of time is so very, very important. Without that proper planning, you cannot retire happy and leave a great legacy.
Well, you mentioned obstacles there, Hugh. What are some of the obstacles? Because, for people in my age group, we think we've got our 401k, we've got a little bit of extra going into retirement, hopefully Social Security is there. But what are some of the obstacles that you're seeing people face?
Well, I think some of the obstacles people are going to face is outstanding bills. Is your house paid for? Are my credit cards paid off? Outstanding loans are very important to look at, because once we go into retirement, most of the time our income will drop. And once we get in a position of taking a monthly income, we don't get overtime or we don't get extra money. So it's so important to properly plan and make sure all the obstacles are taken care of before you go into retirement.
Now, leaving a legacy. You know, a lot of us have children. We would like to leave them something, but there are a lot of legal questions that go into that. But I understand that you work with a whole slew of experts to make sure that things are ironed out very well.
Correct. We believe that, again, we've talked about it before, that three-legged stool, and that is our financial, that is our legal, and that is our tax situation should walk with every person for the rest of their life, meaning those are the three legs that are going to get us through and make sure we have a happy retirement. I can't tell you how many clients that we worked with over the years, and when their kids come back after they pass away and talk to us about how happy they are because the transition from mom and dad to them is very simple and plain. Again, proper planning will always lead you to a good and prosperous retirement. More importantly, it will also leave you a great legacy for your family.
Well, I've heard you say the time to buy fire insurance is not after the fire. Go into that just a little bit.
Okay. So many people pick a date that they want to retire, a year, 2 years, 3 years, with no proper planning. The transition for that takes a lot longer than that. I can't tell you how many people that have come to our office sit down and want to retire next year. Once we sit down and spend a couple hours, they find out they're not ready to retire next year. So again, it's so important to start planning at least 4 or 5 years before that. Find a professional that you can get along with, take the advice, and meet on a regular basis so that once you reach the year you want to retire, you'll be in the right position to retire.
Now, for some of us that have older parents, how do we broach the subject of, hey, mom and dad, you really need to get things kind of in order to make it easier on us kids? How do you tactfully go into that with your parents?
That is a hard question. We face that every day with younger people dealing with their parents. But I think the best way to approach it, these people are from what we call the silent or GI generation. I think going at them straight ahead saying, Mom, Dad, let's get things taken care of and not leave things to chance is the way to handle it. These people built our country, and by shooting straight with them and going right at them with the questions and things they need to handle, most of them will respond.
Well, great words of wisdom, Hugh. Thank you so very much. And be sure to get in there and make sure that you have that retirement peace of mind in place.
If you choose to be a part of this, go for it, because they are wonderful people.
Oh, there's so many other resources that they've helped us with. You know, no matter what we asked. I mean, it's like anything you need. You know, they're going to take care of everything. One-stop shopping, you know.
And they're real people.
Yeah.
Real people.
Yep, we really have enjoyed them so much.
I am very passionate and dedicated to retirement planning. We hope after watching this video, it has inspired you to act today by calling our office to schedule your confidential and no-fee consultation. We assure you this will be beneficial to you and your family. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you.
For more information, visit regaryfinancial.com.